Okay, 276. So you want your project to look more like the project or projects we saw with some of the earlier computer versions of Choose Your Own Adventure. The good news is we already have most of what we need to be able to do that. So just a couple of lines of code are all you need to know to be able to include in your projects, to be able to do, like you see my output window now, include colored foreground text. So the foreground is always just referring to the text output. The background is always just referring to whatever it is that is one layer removed, so one back from the foreground, the text output. So a couple of things here. I have some notes for you in this code sample so that it's easier for you to follow along with. I won't necessarily read them out here, but they do help later on when you come through and look at the code again and need to know what you have to copy and paste. These are them. What I will tell you is right here with no additional includes, I have for you some constant string values. They are constant string values because you are not going to want to change them. There is no reason to change them. So don't change them. What I have for you here from lines, let's say 12 through 17, are the RGB codes for red, green, yellow, cyan, magenta, and reset brings it back to just white. So from here on out, any place that we put in an output state, or a cout rather statement, any place that we put in a cout statement the keyword red, it is going to display red, like you see in the second line of the output above me here. Any place in an output statement that we say green, we are going to see green, like you see above me here in the output statement. So you can see all of those here above my floating head in the video. And the very last one to get it back to white again is reset. Now, if you want the background of the text to be colorized, this will not color the foreground of the text. You can choose one or the other. It's a limitation here to online GDB. It's a limitation here to the way we have to run. We're not bringing in a ton of different libraries. This is the simplest way we can do it. Please just say, yes, this is going to be limited to background color with foreground white, and you will be just fine. So same deal. I have these constant strings for red underscore background, green underscore background, etc. And you can see over here in my output that indeed it does output like you would expect. Now, just one really quick mention here is you'll notice that that is lined up really pretty close to, and it included the period for me, and I knew that from testing, and I forgot about it here. You'll notice it's really lined up very, very tight to your text output, and the reason it's lined up tight to the text output is because it is literally only including that character. So the N in now and the D in background, it is only including the character and the boundaries of that character where it is you see it in the output window. If you want a little bit of a buffer of that color, if you'll see when I run it again, it's really not going to do that for you. So this makes, I know this makes life for some of you a little more complicated than you wanted it to be, and that's unfortunate, but it is one of the limitations here to how this particular implementation of C++, without grabbing a bunch of gnarly libraries and without requiring you to do a bunch of gnarly things, let's just keep it simple here. So you can see we have colorized foreground. Remember, the foreground is just the text. We have colorized background that is behind the text. And remember that colorized background is going to come with white foreground text. Now, there's a couple more things I do want to show you here that I know you are going to want to do with your projects potentially, and hence the title of the project. We will also show you three more things here. The first of them is right here. You can see I have this string of 50 ampersand, or no, it is the @ character. My mistake. I changed that in testing. 50 at characters in a string outputted to my output console. This statement, line number 48, is all we need to do for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, and we're going to paste it 3 more times. And we can see what the result is. It's going to output for us 4, in this case 4 strings of the at symbol for us. Remember, there's no new line character in between these. That's what you're seeing here in the output. I did not bother in this case to do a cout end line to be able to take care of that. And when we run it here, you'll see it does actually go ahead and take care of that for us. So remember, every character you see and every character you don't get to see is the direct result of an action or an inaction on behalf of the developer. So what we would be able to do here, of course, is just to include our new line characters there if we wanted this to be different. So all we would have to change on these lines, if I wanted this to be like it was before in testing, let's do the caret. We will do the ampersand. We'll leave that one alone. And for the last one, we will do the pound symbol. We'll go ahead and run this again, and you can see I get exactly what I want there. So as you're going through and formatting the output of your project, you can go ahead and add these. If I change this value 50, we change this to 100, and I'm just going to go ahead and offset this every other and run it again. You can see now I get 100 characters of, in this case, it's the caret and the at symbol. So you have a pretty granular amount of control for how much you want to be able to change these. So think about things like dividing lines, think about things like one input to another, one output, a grouping of actions that you can take. You can create a visual separation for your end user, me and you, honestly, as we're going through here. Next, we have 2 more things here. One of them is, I know that sometimes you are going to want the input to pause as you're coming down and hit any key to continue. I've gotten that question a lot. I have told many of you to hold on, so we're going to take that here. We're going to we're going to rather call our int value that I'm going to declare here pause value. You know what? I'll even change it from val to value so that I can use a full and complete variable name so that you can't say, well, you didn't include full and complete variable names, because you'd have been right. So here, I use this pause value just as a useless input so that I can continue. So let's say that here, in between my foreground text output and my background text output, what I wanted to do is have the program essentially pause. What I can do is put here a cout statement, and I'll say press any key to continue, like so. And we will put our semicolon there. Then I'm just going to cin, and we'll call it pause value, just like so. Am I doing anything with pause value? No. Do I really care what the pause value is going to be here? No. So if somebody hits any key, a dot, a C, just the enter, it doesn't matter. We are just using this statement, the cout and the cin is really what's causing the pause in our window, so that we can make the output, which you can see above me now. So I'm running it again, and you can see the output now is pausing for us. Hit any key to continue. I'll put a C in there. So C for continue, and boom, we have a continue statement. So that provides for you a pause in your output. Next is if we want to do a system clear. So that was the system pause. The next is system clear. I'm going to do it right after this again, and I have it in 2 places for you. Both of these will work, actually. I did some testing with G++ here, the version of C++ we are using. Void system clear, like so. It is on line number 10, commented out. I'm going to paste it here into line number 41. You can also just use system and then in parens clear. That also will work. So we'll go ahead and run this again. And what we'll see is hit any key to continue. So I'm going to hit C to continue. And you'll notice that the foreground coloring that you saw before is now gone, and it's replaced with this output that we see here. So we have colorized output for both the foreground and the background. We have a system pause, a way to prevent your system from continuing, a way to prevent your program, in this case, from continuing, and system clear, a way to reset the output console so that you can put fresh new material there whenever you want it. Your projects are going to look fantastic.